Hey guys, Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, and I'm excited because this is my first ever Q&A. So I'm super excited to be filming a Q&A video. I think that these are really entertaining and informative to watch, so I'm excited to make some for you. And if I don't answer your question and you want me to answer it in a future Q&A video, please leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to get to it. So I asked on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, in Facebook groups, kind of all over the place for people to ask me questions for my Q&A video, and I got some really good ones. And I'm also including some questions I've been asked from coaching clients in the past, because I think they're going to be helpful for a lot of you. So, without further ado, let's get to the questions. Oh, I'm also going to keep them anonymous just in case people don't want their name associated with their question. You never know. Okay, so the first question is, are you considering trying out the uniform clothes like Unfancy started doing? So for some of you, if you don't know, I have had 2 capsule wardrobes. I'm in the midst of my 2nd capsule wardrobe. I'll be linking to everything I talk about in the description box, so you can click down there to see my fall capsule and also my winter capsule wardrobes. And if you're not familiar with capsule wardrobes, the general idea is that you choose a certain number of pieces. A lot of people tend to do between 30 and 40, some people do a little less. And those are the only pieces you wear for a 3-month period. And at the end of that 3-month period, you can kind of shuffle things around, grab out things that are more appropriate for the season you're entering, replace things that are wearing out, stuff like that, and kind of continue on with your revamped capsule for the next 3 months. And the idea is that you don't buy any new clothing in that 3 months, except for the couple weeks leading up to building your next capsule. And so it helps you to not spend as much money, and it also helps you to kind of reduce the amount of things you have in your life. It's a great way to get into minimalism because it helps you to see what you actually like to wear. So if you go through a whole year cycle and there's 10 pieces in your wardrobe that you never included in a capsule, maybe you don't need to keep them because you obviously don't really want to wear them. So with all of that said, this question is about if I'd be interested in doing more of a uniform clothes type of thing rather than a capsule. So Unfancy is a blog. It's really awesome. I'll link it below. If you haven't been to the Unfancy blog, you should go because she's awesome, and she was the first person to inspire me to do a capsule wardrobe. So the idea is that she's kind of moved more into a uniform way of dressing, which is that she sort of creates an equation for an outfit, and while she'll wear different pieces in that equation, she kind of sticks to the same thing. So one example I just quickly looked up is of a fitted top tucked into jeans with booties. So that would be a uniform, and she can wear different fitted tops, different jeans, different booties, but it's kind of always the same thing. So when I think of a uniform, I think more of actually just, one top, one pair of pants, one pair of shoes that you kind of wear every day. Obviously, you might have multiples of each, but just sort of one exact style. I think that both have a place in a minimalist's wardrobe, and I have actually been really intrigued by the idea of going a bit more towards a uniform way of dressing in recent months. I was inspired after reading an article about a woman who wore the same outfit to work every single day for I think a year, and I thought that was really interesting. And I do feel that even within my capsule wardrobe, which is a collection of items that's a lot smaller than I'm used to choosing from, I still find that I go to the same things over and over again. There's maybe 5 tops that I wear the most, and there's 2 pairs of pants that I wear the most, and 1 pair of shoes. I want to wear my vegan docs every single day. So I have been starting to consider more of a uniform style dressing plan, but I haven't yet decided if I like the idea of maybe having 2 outfits, one more formal, so it'd be appropriate for going out to dinner or more of a business meeting or something like that, and something more relaxed, and just having those 2, having a couple versions of the tops, probably just 1 pair at the bottoms, and the shoes I wear, and just, I have my formal and my informal outfit, and that's it, and just see how that feels. And I've also considered doing something a little bit more like what she's doing on Unfancy, of having more of an equation, which I kind of already do unconsciously, but just sort of saying, you know, this is the style that fits me, and I'm kind of always going to wear a t-shirt and jeans and booties or whatever it is. So I'm definitely considering it. I'm not sure if I will be doing that for the spring instead of a spring capsule. I think I'll likely stick with another capsule wardrobe. I've only done 1.5 so far, and I feel like there's a lot I can still learn about capsules, and spring kind of brings a lot more options for clothing, and in Canada the weather is kind of crazy from one spectrum to the other, from snowstorms to boiling hot to rain to everything else in between, and I'm not sure a uniform would work very well for that kind of varying temperatures. So I'll probably stick with another capsule for the spring, but I'm definitely getting more interested in the whole idea of a uniform and considering trying that out soon. So I'll keep you posted if I decide to try it out. So that was a bit of a long-winded answer. I'm sorry. I wanted to give some background for those of you who don't really know anything about capsule wardrobes. So yes. Okay, what does your current bullet journal look like? So one of my most popular posts on my blog is giving you guys a little walkthrough through my bullet journal, and that was the one I used in 2015. And I have a new one for 2016 that I've been using, which I won't give you a full tour through it. If you want to see more of it, I can make a separate video or blog post for it, but I thought I'd just quickly show it to you. So this is what the book looks like. It's from May Designs, which is a really awesome website. You can design your own notebook, you can put whatever you want up here, you can decide what you want on the inside. I highly recommend them. I really enjoyed buying notebooks from them. So this is the notebook. It's the blue marble. Just put 2016, very minimal at the top. And the way it kind of goes, you know, the first section is a year at a glance. Then there's a goal setting page that I don't really use. And then we get into the month views. I use a 4-color pen like this so that I can have 4 categories, and I always have them with me and I don't have to carry around a pencil case or something. I just have my one pen that can be all 4 colors. So red is personal because red's my favorite color. Green is one of my part-time jobs. Blue is my other part-time job. And then black is for things relating to Jason, my fiance. So that's sort of what the month views look like. And then after the month views, we get into the actual journal. So the first page is the index. I left a separate page so that I could do some kind of design, because a lot of people do really beautiful sort of mandala designs in their bullet journals, and I really haven't had any time to do it clearly, so it's just kind of blank right now. Then we get to a to-do list, my key, first quarter goals. This one is the page I'm most proud of. It's the wedding planning timeline. So this is actually the exact timeline I posted on my blog, which was the ultimate wedding planning timeline. And there's a printable, you can print it off, or you can just pin it to your Pinterest board if you're not getting married anytime soon. But I just copied it down so that I could check things off as we did them, and then included a quote that's been special to my fiance and I from the beginning. So I really like having this here so that I can keep track of sort of where we are in the planning process. Then I have some to do for my blog, goals for my blog post ideas, miracle morning tracking with your level 10 life, and then we get into the week views. So I just sort of take up as much space as I need. It's not very exciting. I just kind of write out my tasks using my key, and yeah, and that's pretty much all I have in there so far. So it's definitely not as exciting and designed as a lot of people's bullet journals are, but I kind of like it being very minimal and practical, because that's sort of why I want a planner. If you want a more in-depth tour of my bullet journal, let me know in the comments below, and I can add that to the filming list or to the blog post writing list. Okay, so the next question is about BBG versus Way of Grey. If you're not familiar, they're both online fitness programs by Kayla Itsinas and by Sophie Gray, and you can purchase the programs and do them at home. So I went through the first BBG program, the 12 weeks, I thought it was okay. The workouts didn't fit with me incredibly well, my style of working out and my strengths and weaknesses. And I felt like while my body improved, it didn't improve as much as I hoped. The support is great in that community, so that's a positive, but it's also quite expensive, so there's that to consider as well. For Way of Grey, it's a lot more affordable. This is the Love Yourself program that I'm speaking about. And she actually has videos to go along with the workouts, which I love. That makes such a difference for me to work out with the video instead of just a piece of paper showing the exercises. It's a lot more motivating, and I don't know, I just like it a lot better, and I like the exercises she does better. The other thing I like about Sophie is she promotes a plant-based diet, which obviously as an ethical vegan, I want to support as much as possible. Kayla does not support a plant-based diet, and that's something that I obviously disagree with. So personally, I would go with the Way of Grey program over BBG, but it is, of course, personal preference. So, next question. Let's see. Why do you think veganism is not more popular among men? That's a really interesting question, and I think it's not a stereotypical thing like a lot of people would assume. I think it really is a society thing. Society's pretty hard on men to be manly and to like sports and eat steak and all of those things, and I think there's a lot of connection between being a carnivore and being manly, unfortunately, in our society. So I think a lot of men feel as though they'll be viewed differently if they were to give up meat and, you know, potentially go vegan. And I think they're also worried that they're going to get weak and skinny and, you know, no longer be attractive, in addition to all the other things that people worry about with going vegan, like it being hard and expensive and all that stuff that we know isn't really true, and doesn't really matter when you consider the reasons why you go vegan. But obviously for men, there are those extra things they have to worry about of how they'll be perceived if they stop eating meat. Okay, so someone was asking about getting vitamin D. So there are only certain types of D that we actually need, and the best way to get vitamin D is to be out in the sun for about 15 minutes a day if you can, direct sunlight, with no sunscreen, obviously, so that your skin can absorb the vitamin D. But if you live somewhere that's not very sunny, like I do, Southern Ontario is very gray, or if you just don't have the opportunity to spend 15 minutes in the sun every day, I would suggest taking a supplement. And you're going to want to take D3 if you can. D3 is the best absorbed. The only thing is most D3 is not vegan, so you're going to have to do a little bit of research to find a vegan alternative. Regular D3 is a lanolin derivative, but you want to get the D3 that is made from lichen. I may be pronouncing that wrong, which is a plant. So if you do a bit of research, you can find a vegan D3 supplement, and that is the one you should be taking if you're not getting about 15 minutes of direct sunlight a day on your bare skin. How long have you been vegetable inclined, and what kind of changes have you seen in that time? So, I have been vegetable inclined since 2010. I went vegetarian in 2010 and went vegan at the beginning of 2011. So I'm coming up to my 4-year vegan anniversary, which I'm very excited about. And in that time I've seen a lot of changes, both in myself and the people around me. A lot of people I know have gone vegetarian or vegan and asked me to help them through that transition period, which I just love doing. My fiance went vegan shortly after we began dating, which was amazing, and is still vegan. What else have I noticed? My family is a lot more open to the idea of veganism, and they've started to eat more plants, and I think that all of the misinformation they've been fed for their whole lives is starting to crumble a little bit, which is great. I feel a lot better in general. I feel clearer, and I feel like I have more purpose in life, which is always great. I feel more in line with my morals. I feel as though my actions fit with my beliefs and my morals, which has calmed a lot of stress that I felt before. I also lost some weight and feel as though I maintain my weight while eating a huge amount of food every day, which is awesome. And I almost never get sick now, which is crazy because I used to get sick, once a month I would get a cold, and I'd get more sick, pretty regularly. But since going vegan, I've only had a handful of colds, if that. In 4 years I've maybe had 2 colds, which is crazy for me because I used to get sick all the time. So those are just some of the things I've noticed. If you're vegan and you've noticed a lot of benefits, I'd love to hear about them in the comments, so let me know. Okay, so someone was asking about feeling as though they had more gas since going vegan. I would say that's pretty normal. I definitely experienced more bloating and gas when I first went vegan, and I think a big part of that is just increasing your fiber intake. So not only are you eating more foods that are more full of fiber, but you're also eating more food in general, or you should be when you go vegan, because vegan foods are less calorically dense. So as you're eating more food and that food is more fibrous, you're going to be taking in more fiber than your system's used to, and that will usually result in a bit of bloating and gassiness at the beginning. So what I did was I took some sort of gas relieving pills at the time to sort of help break that down. I can't remember what it was specifically that I took anymore because I was finding the bloating a bit excessive. You want to drink a lot of water, and something that could help is if you transition a little bit more slowly. But if you're already sort of full-blown vegan and you don't want to step back, I totally understand. That's what I did too, just 0 to 100. I would just suggest maybe chewing your food more, taking more time with your food. Maybe look into food combining rules if you haven't already. Just for the first couple months, try to stick to those because they can help digestion go a little bit more easily until your body gets used to a higher volume of food and more fiber and is more able to break it down, at which point you won't really notice any more bloating and gas than you had before. And for me personally, I have less bloating and less gas than I did before I went vegan, now that my body's adjusted. So I hope that helps. Okay, so the last question I'm going to answer I think is a very interesting one, which is, every time someone goes vegan, does it actually save animals' lives, or are animals still being slaughtered at the same rate? So this is an interesting factor. I actually recently posted a blog post called A Vegan's Biggest Regret, which you can check out in the description box below. And in that I talked about how many animals I had contributed to killing in the time that I was an omnivore, and the amount of animals that I had saved in the time that I was vegetarian. So please, please, please don't let that be a barrier to you going vegan or continuing on your journey if you've already begun. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. Please leave comments below with your questions for me to answer next time. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.